Good morning. My name's Mark. I started DOA lures about 26 years ago. My first project was the shrimp. When I designed my shrimp, I designed it just like this. It's got a small lead weight in the belly, just enough lead to counterbalance the weight of the hook riding upright. It is not a fast sink bait the way I designed it. I wanted to be able to sweep it in currents. I wanted to have it drop real slow and glide down. And I achieved my purpose there pretty well. Single hook upright allows me to fish it through heavy grass. The lighter weight allows me to sweep it in a current where I can sweep it just like a shrimp sweeping out on an outgoing tide. Depending on tide speed, I can use it just the way I designed it initially. But when I first designed it, I only sold a 1-pack. And it was just rigged just like this, and everybody seemed happy and life was good. And as time progressed, people started buying a whole bunch of them. And my rep group didn't want me to do it, but I said, well, I'm going to make a 3-pack because it'll give people better value. So I had 3 of them rigged like this. You got your hooks and weights, they're all ready to go. All you got to do is tie it on and go fish. And then I got the ultimate compliments by a whole bunch of American companies that took my stuff to China and made copies of it. And so at that point I said, well, I'm going to make a 9-pack. And the reason why I made the 9-pack was twofold. Is because so many folks where I'm from in Texas, they almost require you to throw a bait caster in Texas. So if I'm going to throw a bait caster, I can get these 9 bodies that are unrigged. I can take this unrigged bait right here and I can stick, if I wish, I can stick a jig head in it, just like so. And fish it just like a jig. Depending on how big a jig head, obviously, it depends on how fast it's going to drop. So I can get it down in different depths by simply just adding weights of jig heads. Furthermore, when I make this bait, I cast 2 holes in the mold. One is where the weight goes and one is where the hook goes. Since there's already a cavity in there, I can easily take one of my rattles and just slide it up the hole that's already in the body. And now I've got a heavier rattling bait that'll make a noise. So you can buy 9 of them. You could rig it this way. You could rig it the standard way I designed it. But then when we want to get weedless, I can put a screw style hook in it. This is a screw, it screws in the nose. If I'm going to use a screw style hook, I really like a very deep gap, the difference between here and here. This to me is critical because when that fish strikes, he's pushing up on that weight, exposing this hook. If it's a very low profile hook, when he strikes and presses, it's still not going to push that hook up as high. To me, that's critical on the hookup. Both will get a strike. This will get your fish stuck. This allows you obviously to fish in very heavy, thick conditions. If I care to, I can do what's referred to by bass guys as skin hooking it, where I can put the point back into the back so it won't pick up any grass whatsoever. It makes noise, cast well, weedless, everything that you might want for a thick grass or when it's been blowing hard, a lot of loose grass. This is an excellent presentation, very simple way to fish it. I'm really into simple. I don't want to overcomplicate things. You tie it on, you chunk it out, you make a rattle, move it nice and slow and steady with a short twitch. I just want to make that little click. If I want redfish, I do like the heavier lead because if I want redfish, I want to scuff the bottom 90% of the time. I did fish yesterday and I did fish it near the surface. I can use this same style hook. This, I can rig this backwards. This is a 3.5 worm hook. This has got the weight in the belly and it's got a very large rattle in the front. Since I'm casting, I'm tied here. When I'm casting, it's going this direction. When it's going this direction, it's got very low profile, therefore it shoots in a wind extremely well. This casts very, very far. The guys fishing the redfish tours started doing this quite a bit when they were fishing redfish in super thick cover. Very, very effective, real simple, completely weedless. Again, they can skin hook it if they want, put that point of that hook back into the body. So now it's completely weedless, makes a noise, casts like a rocket. Very good in the wintertime when that water gets crystal clear and you want to make a really long cast to your fish. As far as colors go, a natural is very hard to beat when you've got beautiful water. It's a very, strangely enough, natural looking bait. Now I've had so many people come up to me with a lot of the knockoffs of the shrimp these days, and some of them look so alive I want to throw them in water and boil them. And that's all well and good, but one of my favorite fish catching colors is glow over gold. I've never seen a glow over gold. It doesn't look natural if you put it in a shrimp tank compared to other baits, but it catches fish. My concern is to catch fish, not to be the prettiest one, but be the one that works. And this is an extremely good, consistent color. I like anything with a glow in it. I like anything with a holographic glitter in it. This has got holographic green, very good color fishing over grass flats. I like very much, this is again the 9-pack. It comes with 3 hooks and 3 weights in it. You can rig it yourself or you can stick your jig head in it. This is holographic glitter. If there's every color in the rainbow is in hologram. Therefore, if a fish is keying on a color, he can see that holographic glitter. I really like throwing this when I'm in small minnows. To me, it has that similar reflection and they really like to eat it. Then probably one of the most, I laugh because people look at me and go, why do you call it stupid? But I call this the stupidest thing in the world. Initially, this float was designed in Port Mansfield, Texas, called the Mansfield Mauler. There's a company that makes most of these for almost every company. The cylindrical, this is called your cigar shape. We also make an oval shape, and then we make a popping cork shape. When these were designed, they had the lead or the brass beads on the bottom that represented the weight. This has the lead in here. This does not helicopter. This casts twice as far, at least a third further than this does. So I will throw this and highly recommend a popping style over this. I may hurt myself on this, I don't care. This works, I'm interested in what works for you and make it simple. I usually use a couple feet of leader under this. This, if you buy the Deadly Combo, it comes pre-rigged. All you gotta do is pop this baby out of here, tie on your line to your float. One thing I do recommend about anybody's, whether you're using mine or anyone else's, if you're using braided line, which I do, this has already got a piece of fluorocarbon leader tied on it. I typically put a piece of leader on top. Reason being because when I've got a stiff piece of leader about 8 or 9 inches long, my braid will never wrap around my wires. So I like that short piece of leader above as well as the leader that's already tied on below. So this is approximately 2 feet of leader right here. Undo it, tie on there and go fish. Yeah, I jerk it very sharply. I'm not a wussy jerk. I wanna make it really splash. Again, with the popping cork, I can make a loud chug as well as a short clack. A lot of live baiters seem to prefer these. They don't make as much noise. But when I'm fishing with my plastic, I want to make noise. I want to wake the dead. I want to get the fish to where my bait is, and this does it. It's phenomenally effective. It won, the last 2 years, it won the Redfish Tours using these, and it wasn't very far from the Panhandle here in Florida. Okay. We do make a heavier one. This is a 1/2 ounce. I can chunk it a lot better when I put my bait caster on. It's got a slightly faster sink rate. I can do everything that I just discussed with my other bait. I can put rattles in it, rig it backwards, do whatever I want. People that fish more aggressively, some people fish very methodically, some people fish very aggressively. When I'm fishing with, say, Blair on Addictive Fishing, he fishes aggressive. He uses my 1/2 ounce more than the 1/4. We both catch fish. It's just our preference. That's why I make different lures, I guess. Most of my designs of lures, by the way, I pride myself in trying to be creative. There's a few baits that I make that I consider generics. That's my Cal series. But I also my pride is to develop products like the shrimp or like some other baits that'll really, like my Bait Buster or something that really is something that when I went out and my buddy was out fishing me, I went to my shop just to specifically design a really good looking finger mullet or something that I could get to dive like my Terrorize. And I'll go into those in just a second. I think I've got most of this covered. This is my little 2-inch shrimp. A lot of my friends that fish this on fly are going to use a number 2 bait hook, short shank, and they're going to run it down and they're going to super glue that hook into the body. If they super glue it into the body, you can throw it with fly and never have to worry about it sliding on your hook. If I don't super glue it in, it will slide. I consider myself a flail fisherman, not a fly fisherman. So I want to be able to have something that's going to stick on the hook well. This is light enough where I can easily cast it with an 8 weight plus. If it's It's a little heavy when I get down to, say, a 5 weight or a 6 weight, but it works very nicely on a little heavier. Tremendous little trout bait, great redfish bait around the docks and that sort of thing, and a very good snapper bait. As things progress, I got some requests from actually from my buddy Blair Wiggins. He wanted a smaller shrimp and he wanted a heavier shrimp. And so I said, I can do that. And I did want one that had a faster sink rate than this. And I did want one that had a smaller profile. We do a lot of pompano fishing, and a pompano is much more likely to jump on this than he is this. And obviously shrimp change sizes through the year. But this is a really good common size for shrimp. This has a port already in it. It has a rattle in it. And this lead, this overall body, not including the weight, is 7/16 of an ounce. Therefore, I can cast it with my bait caster, much faster sink rate. If I'm fishing out of a boat, it lets me fish out of a boat very effectively and get it to where I want it to be much more quickly. Punches better in a wind, cast better with distance casting. So this is our future. It will be on the market probably within the next 45 days to 60 days. Again, it's a simple bait. We will sell replacement bodies. This will pop out. This is your weight right here. So your weight is molded on your hook, single hook riding upright, good hook exposure, good weight. There's a good chance I'll also bring out perhaps a heavier and a smaller weight. That'll both fit in the same pocket. But there's already a hole cast in the bait, so all I have to do is slide it into that hole and pull the hook out the back, and I'm ready to rock. Simple as it can be. Simple is good. For more information, go to DOAlures.com. If you ever need any information, if you're old school, you need to call us. We'll talk to you on the phone. We don't care. We talk about fishing no matter what. Enjoy.